right, fourth grade. Today we're going to be making animal faces. You are going to have a piece of paper on your table that looks like this. Kind of gives you an idea of a bunch of different kinds of faces you can make. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a dog like this one. And then what's nice about this is I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna make a dog, but what's great is you can take that idea and kind of adapt it to make it into any one of these. There's only a couple steps that you would have to change to make it into one of these other animals. So you get to pick which one. I'm gonna show you how I make a dog. So you're gonna start by tracing out a circle on your slab of clay. Remember, a slab of clay is what we call a flat, thin piece of clay. So I like to use my needle tool to cut things out. And remember, I pushed it right up against this corner so I'm not wasting clay. Then I'm going to take this little lid and I'm going to trace that out as well. Then I'm going to take these extra pieces and set them aside for right now. And now what I want to do is I want to smooth these pieces out. So I kind of use my slip. Remember, slip is liquid clay. I kind of just get a little bit of this on my finger. If there's any water in there, the water might work a little bit better. I just kind of get my finger a little wet, and then I just kind of smooth out these edges so they look really, really nice. Then we're going to slip and score this on to here. So remember, slipping and scoring is the most important part of clay. So scoring is where you scratch it up. You scratch up the bottom of whatever you're attaching, and then you scratch up where you're going to attach it. So I'm scoring, and then I'm going to grab some slip. Slip is our glue, basically. We're just going to apply some of that. Now remember, think of slip like glue. So you want enough for it to hold really well, but not so much that it's going to ooze out everywhere, okay? So then I'm going to stick this on here. Press down to make sure those really stick together well. I like to kind of drag my finger along to kind of clean up where those two spots connect. Then it's time to add our other pieces. So, and I'm going to make 2 equal-sized balls for his eyes. Try to make them be the same size. And then I like to just flatten them just a little bit. And then I'm going to slip and score. Scratch up where I'm putting it and scratch up the back of each piece. Oops. Now I'm going to make 2 smaller circles to go inside of those circles. I'm going to use my needle tool to slip and score this time since they're so little. And then I just kind of like to push them flat on there. Not too flat because we don't want them to disappear into the bigger circle, but that's how I do it. I kind of push them flat. Then I take this wooden tool that kind of has one pointy end and one round, or one like flat end, and I use that to make the pupil inside of my eye. Okay, now we need his nose for our dog. And for his nose, I'm going to make a little triangle-shaped nose. Now I'm going to slip and score. Make sure to press down pretty well, make sure those blend together. Then I'm going to take, I'll scooch it up just a little bit. Then I'm going to get my finger a little wet and smooth out the edges of that nose. Then you can take either this little pointy tool again. I just kind of use the side of it almost. I just kind of press it into the side of his nose to make it look like he has nostrils. There you go, a little doggy nose. Then we need to make coils. Now coils are kind of snake-like pieces of clay. So you just need a small piece and then you just roll it out. Make sure it's pretty skinny, pretty tiny coil. So you can see that's a pretty skinny coil. Then I'm just gonna break that in half so I can put it as his mouth. So I'm gonna kind of, as carefully as I can, kind of score up the back of this coil. I'm gonna score up, I might kind of draw first where I want his mouth to go. And then I'm gonna kind of score it up now that I know where I want it to go, so I can put my coil there. A little bit of slip. It's a little too long, so I'm just gonna trim it off. You can see now I'm just kind of smoothing it out. And then he needs ears, so I'm going to use this little piece right here to make some ears. Maybe I can kind of sketch out how big I want it first. Maybe like that. Then it's really easy to make them both the same size by just laying that one that you just cut on top and just tracing around it, just like you're used to doing for a lot of other projects. All right, set this aside. Okay, so I'm gonna slip and score this to the top of his head. I'm gonna slip and score where I want it to be attached. And I'm gonna kind of make that a really nice little connection there. And then make sure that's really, really nice and on there, because then what I like to do, first I'm going to smooth this out so it looks really nice. Then what I like to do is kind of bend them up and over like that, so it looks like his ears are kind of floppy. I'm just kind of smoothing out the edges of them a little bit. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for this side. Make sure, see how this connection, I like to just kind of really rub that in together. Make sure you're also really pushing that ear against his head really well. Now I'm just going to use my needle tool to add some little dots for his whiskers. Maybe I want to use the wooden pointy tool so you can actually see them. There we go, that's better. Some little spots on his nose. Okay, so there's my little dog. So that's how you can change this a little bit to make these other animals. So you can see here on this monkey, it's pretty much the same. His eyes are the same. Instead of making a nose like this, you would probably just poke these two holes in. You'd make a coil for his mouth, and then instead of making ears that flop over, you could have ears that come off the sides, right? So you can see how you can adapt these to make them what you want, how you can adapt what I just showed you to make what you are thinking, okay? I can't wait to see what kind of animals you make and to see what details you add to make them look really, really cool. All right, let's get started.